guys questions.
Somebody,
any
anybody.
thoughts on what's going on here? Business as usual? Is there such a thing?
It is for us as a staff. It has to be. Obviously, we'd like to bring some type of conclusion to this whole situation, but for us, it's business as usual. We have a group of guys that are busting their butts every day to impress the staff and prove that they've gotten better. At the same time, we as a staff are trying our best to prepare guys to win games.
Is it hard to fill out your roster, Monty, when you don't know how many players you could be getting in perspective beyond how much those players are earning?
That would be a question for Dell as far as filling out a roster. I don't do that. To try to answer it, it can be difficult to not have the team that you could or should have. And at the same time, I'll go back to my first answer, I just think it's, at this point in time, I have to deal with the guys I have on the floor at this present moment.
In these 5 practices, have you modified anything that you would customarily do in training camp? And if so, is it radical?
Pretty radical in that we haven't put in everything that we would like to put in. We've tried to put some things in that are really simple and will give the guys an opportunity to succeed on the floor. Some of the more complex offenses and defenses we want to put in, we haven't done that yet because it's hard to pick up our stuff. The way we defend is a lot different than most teams and most systems out of college. So to put in some of those schemes would, I think, put guys at a disadvantage.
So compared to a circumstance that was not so out of the ordinary, you would have more installed completed at this point?
Yeah, especially if we brought back the same team we had last year, I would say we probably have at least 50% of our stuff. For the total year, I think we'd have that much in by now. Because the guys that were here last year, they're recalling things that we haven't even put in yet.
And so what percentage are you at this year? If you would be at it?
No. If I had to put a percentage on it, it's probably around 15%, 20%.
Do you talk to Chris about the situation that's going on and how he feels about it and your thoughts in any way about the whole situation?
No, I have before, but since camp has started, I've briefly spoken to him about a couple of things, but I have not talked to him in detail about all of that. Talking about it isn't going to fix it. And, he knows I'm available if he wants to talk about it, but it's not like I'm calling him in the evening and chopping it up about this situation. It is what it is, and it's certainly not his doing. It's one of those situations where you have to let the people handle it who are handling it. I'm certainly not handling it, so I just kind of wait for my input to be asked. It hasn't, so I just continue to coach.
Is that the most frustrating part about this whole process? Is a lot of names have been thrown around in the last couple of days, and guys that could certainly contribute to this ball club. Is that the most frustrating part? It seems like they have a deal together, then it falls apart, and a whole new set of names come out.
I don't know if that's more frustrating. I wouldn't put a level on it. I just think, as a coach, I just want to have a team, and I want to have the team I'm going to have on opening night in place. Life isn't always perfect, so we are not looking for sympathy. We've always said we're a no excuses, no explanation team, and we're going to continue to stand by that, because when things do go our way, we won't have to change paces and say, okay, now we can do X, Y, or Z. We don't have to do that. Obviously, we'd like to have some things in place. They're not, so we have to deal with the situation the way it is.
Are you getting a little concerned now? We're less than 2 towards the opener. Still hasn't been resolved. I mean,
yeah, I'm concerned. Yeah. I'm really concerned, but that doesn't take away from the things I can control. And at this point in time, so much is out of my control. You know, it's like anything else. You take care of your own house, and right now, that's what we're trying to do.
With the season approaching, obviously a lot of attention has been given to the Chris situation, which has probably hindered your ability, or the team's ability, to sign other players and fill out the roster. If you went, I guess, to battle with this team today, are you comfortable going into NBA games with so many guys from developmental leagues and don't have experience? And when you look at this roster, I mean, would that be something you're comfortable with? Or do you look at it and say, this is almost borderline unfair to go play the Lakers with this roster?
I would never say anything is unfair. You get a chance to play this game, go out there and try to win and use the talents God has given you to win the game, period. I'm not going to sit here and whine about who I have. I'm not going to do that. That's not who we are. It may not look good on paper to many of you, but for me, whoever I have going to battle, that's who I have, and I'm going to commit to those guys.
Were you ever involved as a player in a circumstance like this where you were in trade limbo for, you know, as part of a deal?
No, I've never seen anything like this, but it's certainly, nobody has a reference for this one. So I think that's where all of the doubt and speculation and all of that stuff comes from. And yet at the same time, I can't involve my emotions in that. I have to continue to pound the rock and commit to what we have, and that is what our guys deserve. That's what our coaching staff deserves. Our coaching staff has been meeting since August in preparation for these moments, and that's where my concern lies. Our staff is, they've been ready for a while, and we just want to get past this and move on.
Good, thanks, Mike.
Okay.